TN Steyr here. I've been asked here recently why I do not care for Glocks. Kind of going to do a small rant video and just go over some of the reasons that I do not care for a Glock pistol. I don't think there's anything totally inherently wrong with one. I have seen some personal defects over the last 20 years with the pistols. I don't think that's more of a manufacturer's. I just think it's just a general how the guns are built and used. What I'm going to go over and show here on this video is an XD 4-inch original, a Steyr M model, and this here is a Glock 19. These are all 4-inch pistols. Biggest thing I have a problem with Glock is polymer magazine. I just don't care for 100% polymer magazine. I think they're junky. On the Steyr, metal mag. Metal internals, everything's pinned. The only thing that's polymer will be your butt plate and your follower. I think this is a much better mag design overall. Even on the Springfield, stainless steel construction, polymer follower, polymer butt plate, metal spring inside. I think it's just a better construction than 100% polymer with a steel spring inside. I just prefer the metal. You can polish these up, you can get them oiled, they hold rounds better, they don't warp, there's no problem when you get dirt and grime. These take a lot more abuse to jam up or not eject when you're trying to do tactical reloads or emergency reloads. That's one issue. Alrighty, moving on. My next issue, slight dislike. You never hear anybody that keeps a stock Glock. I mean, nobody buys one, pulls it out of the box and goes, "Great, best gun ever, not going to do a thing to it." This particular pistol is on loan to me from a friend of mine. As you can tell, it's got a lot of wear. He uses this thing constantly. I think he's kept it and used it as a duty weapon for almost 4 years now. On this particular one, I mean, some of the things that everybody ends up doing is changing out the guide rod, changing out your spring, triggers are instantly done, your slide lock lever has to be enlarged because they're too small, changes out the rear capture plate for the striker, and just in general, this one here actually has been refinished once already. As you can tell, the finish is already, just due to wear and field work is already, needing to be done for the third time. It just doesn't hold up. The slide serrations are very neutral. I mean, there's not a lot of grip on one. But my biggest thing is most people buy a Glock and they think it's the best pistol that's ever been invented. I'm assuming if you've heard of Glock, you know what a 1911 is. I would recommend a 1911 over a Glock any day of the week. But, if you buy a Glock and you like it, that's great. Use it. I just find it funny that any website, any manufacturer that you go to, look at their website and they've got hundreds of Glock parts. Sights, barrels, triggers, extended mags, cut finger grooves. I mean, everybody makes a part for this thing. To me, this is the Chevrolet of the gun world. Everybody has something to do different in one. In comparing it to a Springfield, this particular Springfield has been Cerakoted and has had the sights changed off. Everything else is stock on this pistol. Stock springs, inside. It came from the custom shop from Springfield, and it cost the same. And it just was a different model to order. This particular one is a V10. Now, in 20 years of owning this gun and having it, I have rebuilt it one time. Went through it, had all the springs checked, and just had it totally gone through because this particular gun's had over 6,000 rounds put through it. And it still functions, it's still the original barrel, everything works in it. No fancy modifications except, like I said, a set of trapezoid advanced tactical sights. Moving to the other Austrian-made gun. And everybody knows and teases, Glocks from Austria. Well, so are Steyrs. And when you get a Steyr, this here's an M model, A1, it's a 4th generation. There's nothing done to this gun. Nothing needs to be done to it. You pull this out the box, you do a field check, strip it, make sure it's good and oiled, and go to the range and train with it. The slide serrations are much more deeper, more linear to get actually a groove and set on. It does have the trapezoid sights, which is key for Steyr. I mean, that's one of their main selling features. But the magazine release is much more positive than on a Glock. As you can tell, there's a lot more area to grab. I mean, that mag, you almost have to cut the frame out really to get into it. Steyr isn't. It's already grooved, it's already angled. Trigger system is much, much better. There's no having to buy a gun, bring it home, and decide, great, what's the next $600 or $700 in upgrade parts and pieces that I need to do to it, if you don't do the work yourself. Barrels in these are already recessed, crown targeted, which is great. If you're going to carry this weapon as a duty weapon, the end of this barrel is already recessed and crowned. You don't need to really upgrade anything in this. This is a great weapon. Comes in 3 calibers, 9mm, 40 Smith & Wesson, 357 SIG. One shortcoming on the Steyrs is they don't have a 45 version or a 10mm, where Glock does. Glock has almost every caliber that you could ever want. I just look at the ergonomics of a pistol for someone that has large sized hands. Try to grip on this thing, and both of these, actually all 3 of these, are all 4-inch pistols. And as you can tell, my hand just does not get on this. I mean, I'm gripping as high up as I can get and cannot get my little finger on here. I find that a little ridiculous when I can grab a Springfield and I get all 3 fingers. It's a little tight, but I can get all 3 fingers up inside. I get a hold of the Steyr, and I more than can get 3 fingers in grip. I mean, that's a lot nicer in feel. I just find that everybody on the earth has heard of a Glock. It seems like whenever you go to a gun store, that's the first thing that anybody ever wants to point you to. My biggest go-to for this video is this is not the first and end of firearms. There's plenty of other choices. Look around. Take a look. Just because someone's got a Glock and they say it shoots great, that's nice, try something else. I mean, these are just 2 ideas for you to take a look at to compete against the Glock. I think these are much better firearms in general, straight out the box with no custom work doing anything to. I think it's kind of sad if you have to buy a gun, take it home, and then upgrade springs, your trigger, your mag release, your slide lock, your sights, your striker, magwell, your magazine. If those are things you have to upgrade as soon as you take a gun out of the box, I think you've bought the wrong gun to start with. Now, if you're buying something to build, to make, to do, that's a little different. But for an everyday EDC carry pistol, I think if you're starting here and that's the only thing you're looking at, I think you're really having a shortcoming. I think you need to get out and take a look at it. There's a few other brands and see what's out there.